Your Excellency, Daniela Tramacer, Plenipotentiary Representative of the European Union to the Caribbean Community, Ambassador Colin Grandison, Assistant Secretary General, Foreign Community Relations, Mr. Percival Marie, Director General of Caricom, and other members of staff of the Caricom Secretariat. It is my great pleasure, Your Excellency, to welcome you to the headquarters of the Caribbean Community and to extend congratulations on your accreditation as Ambassador of the European Union to Caricom. I look forward to our working together to strengthen the long-standing relations between the EU and Caricom and engaging in dialogue on points of mutual interest, many of which you already mentioned. Ambassador, at the outset, I must once again place on record Caricom's appreciation for the decades of technical cooperation and assistance from the EU in contributing to the region's development in critical areas. The various programs initiated under the framework of the European Development Fund have been of immense benefit to Caricom member states. They have allowed us to make significant strides in our efforts to integrate our community, particularly with regard to the Caricom single market and economy, and in our quest for sustainable development. While development cooperation has been the cornerstone of our relationship, and the EU continues to be the Caricom's most valuable partner, in that regard, we must not underestimate the value of the political dimension of our relationship. One of the 4 pillars of Caricom integration is the coordination of foreign policy. Ambassador, as you are well aware, the resources provided by the EU to the Caribbean are made available under the Caribbean Regional Indicative Program, the CRIP, which is jointly programmed by CARIFORUM and the EU. While we are currently coming to an end of the cycle of resources for the programs under the 10th EDF, already we have been receiving resources from the 11th EDF, for which I thank you. The CRIP has allocated 346 million euros. I was looking for a few actually. Indeed, I understand that your visit to Guyana includes participation in a meeting of the technical committee, which is considering projects for funding under the 11th EDF. The focus of the regional program on regional economic cooperation and integration, crime and security, and climate change, including renewable energy and disaster risk reduction, amply reflects Caricom's priorities as identified in our strategic plan for the period 2015 to 2019, and is also in keeping with the joint Caribbean-EU partnership strategy. That strategy has its guiding principles: joint ownership, mutual accountability, solidarity, co-management, and co-responsibility. I must also mention the funding being provided for the Caribbean Investment Facility and for the implementation of the CARIFORUM-EU Economic Partnership Agreement, a significant amount of which is targeted for the private sector through Caribbean Export. Ambassador, within the framework of the Cotonou Agreement, which you've mentioned, great emphasis has been placed on respect for human rights and the rule of law as guiding principles in relations between the ACP states and the EU. In that context, Caricom remains concerned by the treatment of Dominicans of Haitian descent, rendered stateless by the Dominican Republic's Constitutional Court ruling on nationality. Despite measures taken, a large number of Dominicans of Haitian descent still remain stateless, an unacceptable situation which remains a stumbling block to the improvement of Caricom relations with the Dominican Republic, a partner in CARIFORUM. Excellency, our relationship transcends development cooperation and technical assistance and is based on our shared values and principles. We both treasure our commitment to peace, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. We cooperate in international fora, as you've mentioned, and this assumes great importance given the global agenda, which includes the sustainable development of SIDS, climate change, and the implementation of the 2030 Development Agenda. The cooperation can be further enhanced by increasing the political dialogue between the community and the EU. So we both agree on this. Excellency, as you assume your duties as the head of the EU delegation in Barbados, you would have become more aware of the challenges that our member states confront as small island and low-lying coastal developing states. Global agreements, which speak to advancing growth and sustainable development, take on a special significance for our countries, indeed for our very existence as developing states. However, if small states are to truly benefit from existing global development arrangements, we must be able to have access to the necessary concessional development funding to bolster our development efforts. And here I'm also including from the multilateral institutions. Caricom is painfully aware of the graduation of some of its members from access to critical development financing. GDP as a formal measure for determining development status on its own does not adequately reflect a country's level of development, especially among SIDS, as vulnerable as we are. Criteria such as levels of vulnerability must also be considered to facilitate a more reliable and accurate measure of developmental progress. There are international development partners who have become sensitive to this reality, and I urge a similar stance by the EU as a progressive and substantive position on the issue of graduation in the various fora in which we participate. Excellency, the member states of our community are determined to forge their path to economic diversity. In that context, the financial services sector is significant, which is why Caricom remains unwavering in its commitment to protect the integrity of that sector. I feel compelled to draw your attention to the unfortunate blacklisting of a number of Caricom member states by some EU member states as high-risk and non-cooperative jurisdictions in respect of the conduct of financial services. I've been advised that the European Commission may be issuing a new list later this year. Our financial services sector has been certified as compliant by all the relevant global regulators. The countries of the EU which have chosen to blacklist Caricom member states should be guided by this established position. This would be in keeping with the fairness and mutual respect which have always underpinned EU-Caricom relations. There's little doubt that blacklisting of our member states helps to trigger other harmful actions to our economy, such as de-risking, which has resulted in the withdrawal of or reduction in correspondent banking services. This action has the potential to disconnect our small economies from the global economy. It will also have a devastating socio-economic impact, as it will affect remittances, which are the main source of income for many of our poorest citizens. Among all of our international development partners, the EU probably understands our unique situation the most. As you've indicated, we've had decades of historical relations. Caricom member states are working together to promote our economic integration, to foster human and social development, to coordinate our foreign policy, and to cooperate on security issues. Like the EU, Caricom is a community of states working collectively by pooling resources to realize a greater good and to improve the lives of all people. With these brief remarks, Excellency, I wish you a warm welcome to the Caribbean community and a most successful tenure as EU Ambassador. I can assure you of my personal full support and that of all the staff of the Secretariat as we work together to make even stronger the ties between the European Union and the Caribbean.